If we run an MRI brain scan right now, we can exactly why your financial growth is hitting a psychological ceiling. These financial struggles are often attributed to laziness, poor technical ability, or a lack of willpower. However, behavioral science demonstrates that these struggles comes from subtle, unconscious mindset glitches within the brain. Here are 5 unrecognized signs of a poor financial mindset, analyzed through the lens of neuroscience and cognitive psychology. By sticking through all 5 points, you will unlock a much deeper level of the psychology behind the wealthiest people in the world and immediately apply through practical mindset shifting steps at the end of the video. 1. Treating your own future self like a complete stranger. Neurological studies show that thinking about your present self activates a specific brain region known as the medial prefrontal cortex. Yet, when individuals in this study are asked to imagine themselves decades into the future, their brain exhibits the same activity patterns as it does when thinking about a complete stranger. This is why saving money feels like a loss, because the brain perceives the transaction as giving your money away to another person. Researcher Hal Hirschfield demonstrated this concept by exposing participants to digitally aged avatars of themselves in virtual reality. Those who observed their older selves immediately allocated more than double the amount of savings for retirement compared to the other group. Difficulty with saving is often not a character flaw, but a neurological gap in empathy toward your future self. Rather than relying completely on willpower to save money, simply understanding this phenomenon can easily push your willingness to allocate money smartly. 2. Draining your cognitive energy on unimportant expenses. Research by Sendil Mulanathan and Eldar Shafir shows that constant anxiety over minor financial decisions creates a heavy mental burden. Micromanaging small expenses consumes your valuable mental processing power, temporarily decreasing your cognitive function by 13 IQ points. This level of mental exhaustion is equivalent to losing an entire night of deep sleep. Obsessing over minor purchases deprives the brain of the executive function required to make high-value professional and financial decisions. Spending mental energy on tiny, everyday savings like your morning Starbucks coffee prevents you from focusing on large-scale revenue generation. Investors like Warren Buffett avoid this cognitive fatigue by keeping their daily lifestyle choices highly simplified and consistent, saving mental energy for high-impact decisions. 3. Impulsive spending due to past instability. While conventional financial advice often blames impulsive spending on a lack of discipline, the root cause is frequently biological. Researchers at the University of Rochester modified the famous marshmallow test to reveal how environmental stability affects decision-making. Children placed in an unpredictable environment chose to eat the single marshmallow immediately rather than waiting for a promised second reward. This is an evidence of evolutionary survival mechanism designed to secure resources before they disappear. When early life experiences suggest that resources are unstable, spending money immediately becomes a logical defensive strategy. Addressing this pattern requires recognizing that this primate-like behavior is an outdated response. When you rewire your brain to understand that investing and saving is the optimal choice based on knowledge rather than instinct, avoiding impulsive spending becomes much easier. 4. Relying too much on raw willpower. Consider 2 drivers attempting to travel at high speeds. One struggles on an unpaved, muddy road, overworking the engine and wearing down the tires. The other glides effortlessly along a highly optimized, paved track. Relying on pure willpower to manage money is like driving on the muddy road, requiring constant brain energy, power, and daily struggle. Successful wealth builders do not rely solely on self-control. They design systems that eliminate the need for it. Removing this friction preserves their mental energy for high-leverage business and career decisions. Building a smooth and seamless environment helps you invest, save, and decide much faster and drains less energy. By automating your investments, the moment income is received, you can remove human decision-making from the process, preserving your mental clarity. 5. Prioritizing defensive tiny cuts over offensive revenue creation. A defensive mindset focuses only on cutting small expenses and living under constant restriction. While managing expenses is necessary, a purely defensive mindset limits the brain's ability to identify opportunities and strategic growth. High-performing wealth builders allocate the majority of their mental energy toward expanding their earning capacity and building scalable assets. They operate on the principle that while savings are mathematically limited, earning potential is structurally infinite. When the primary financial strategy remains defensive, the mind stays locked in a cycle of scarcity. Simply shifting your perspective into focusing on potential rather than constraints can open multiple doors for financial freedom. Overcoming these 5 cognitive traps requires treating wealth as a cognitive operating system rather than a list of restrictions. Here are some practical steps to begin changing your life through rewiring your mindset. Begin by bridging the psychological gap with your future self through clear, vivid visualization of your long-term future. Pave your financial path by establishing automated systems that direct a fixed percentage of your income straight to investments. Reclaim your cognitive energy by eliminating stress over minor purchases. Reframe impulsive spending as a natural biological behavior, not an optimal choice of asset allocations. Shift your primary focus from shrinking your lifestyle to fit your income toward expanding your capacity to grow your income potentials. Wealth is not merely a product of physical labor, but how you perceive, process, and execute financial decisions. Once the internal cognitive programming is updated, the external financial outcomes begin to shift accordingly. Genuine financial freedom is defined not just by net worth, but by a mind free from the persistent burden of financial anxiety. Identifying these 5 psychological patterns allows you to step off the high-friction road and onto the path of compound growth. If you find this video helpful, make sure to drop a like and subscribe as we dive deep into the psychological mindset that can change your life.